How's it going? It's Rocky. Welcome to week number 26 of our $2,000 weekly challenge. Every Friday, I release content on my experience trading the micro E-mini futures and the E-mini futures, specifically the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is denoted by the symbol YM. What you see here are the two screens that I use when I do trade, and you'll probably notice a bunch of vertical lines. So basically, a blue line, that's when I denote when I open a trade, and an orange line in the end denotes when I was long on a trade, and a purple line in the end means when I was short on a trade. So essentially, I do this because I like to look back and really understand why I entered or why I exited a trade. And any losing trades, I denote that by putting this oval line here. So as you can see for the week, we did have a couple of trades that contributed to the week being negative. But, for the week, I did not reach our goal of $2,000. But at the end of the video, I want to be able to share to you how I recovered most of that today, Friday. So for the week, our total is negative $126.43. We started conservatively in the beginning of the week. I actually was in and out, so I didn't trade much. A lot of my trading was from a mobile phone, which, I don't recommend, but it's something that I'm trying to improve on because I am trying to find a 9 to 5, so I may have to be trading on my phone after hours when I'm not working or when I'm on the road. So for the week, I want to now run through my account statement, and essentially this starts from Sunday, June 27th to today, Friday, July 2nd, 2021. And just going through our transactions here, I want to be able to point out a deposit that I did make. So I deposited $300 on June 29th. So I will be subtracting that from our ending balance when I bring up the calculator. So I made this deposit of $300 because the bad habit that I have of holding overnight sometimes and not having enough option buying power or cash that's left on the account. So I deposited that $300 to avoid receiving any margin calls the next day. And also I just want to point out that I did trade both the YM and the MYM. So at one point in the week, I actually managed to get my cash balance to where I can afford 2 E-mini contracts. Unfortunately, I did not maintain that. So there were points where I was trading both the MYM, which is the micro, and the YM. So I was doing that because since 10 micros is equal to 1 YM, since I couldn't afford 2 YMs anymore, I did trade some MYMs to a maximum of about 8 contracts. So I did trade both of them, and happy to say that I did well on the MYM trading wise, not money wise because it doesn't add up as much as a YM. So for the week, we did end at $19,594.03. However, we did deposit $300 to the account, so I will be subtracting that from our ending cash, and our starting cash was $19,420.46. So that gave us an uneventful week of negative $126.43. The goal for me was really to have enough income from trading so I don't have to go back to a 9 to 5. But I've come to a realization that, it might be best to have this 9 to 5 to take care of the bills. And that way there's less pressure of making a lot of money from this trading account. So in the past, when I had less pressure, I was doing better. So hopefully with less pressure of withdrawing every week, I can grow this account. And my goal is really by the end of the year to hopefully get our ending balance to a 6-figure number. And I want to accomplish that by not withdrawing too much money from it, because the power of compounding, as more money is placed into the account, I can trade more and hopefully grow the account more. So this is a trade that occurred Friday, July 2nd. It was after a losing trade. And I actually flipped long on this. I'm proud that I'm learning to cut my losses a little quicker now. I'm still holding on to it a little bit, but not as bad as I used to in the past few weeks. So with this one, I entered long on the 725 candle. And the reason for that is if you look at the MACD, it was about to cross over on the time-based side. And also on the stochastic RSI, it was headed to the overbought side. It's a little aggressive that I did that, but I did that because when I was looking at the tick base chart on the right here, the crossover has already occurred prior to that 725, and we were on the overbought side. So I had a bit of confidence entering this trade. We did enter this trade at 34,570, and I'm gonna draw a white line just so it's easier to comprehend where exactly that is. So we entered at 34,570. It was actually, a little bit of drawdown. It was a bit flat, but didn't panic about it. There was really not much for me to panic because I was looking at the stochastic RSI. They were, on the overbought side, so still a lot of buyers there. And it was within the mental stop that I have where I was still okay to move on with it. And thankfully, the MACD started diverging and it did increase. And it was a long trade, from 725 to finally when I exited at 10:15, so almost 2 hours later. So from this trade itself, from 34,570 to 34,676, that's a gain of 106 points. So that in itself is, I think, a pretty good significant gain that really changed the direction for me, since I was pretty much negative up to that point. Now, on the last trade that I want to share is an example of a good entry I made, an exit where it was a bit premature, and then followed by a FOMO that I normally do that cost me a little bit. But this, I'm not perfect. I just want to show you some things that do happen and basically share this trade to you. So I did have this trade right here at 1250. So the past few days, the last 10 minutes in the Dow Jones Industrial Average has been crazy volatile. So it's almost like gambling 50-50, which is bad. But anyway, for this trade, I didn't follow the MACD or the stochastic RSI or anything like that. I was really just basing it off the movements that was occurring. Really, I was basically following more of the tick base here. So if you look here on this blue line, which is the entry of the trade, we did short at 34,695. So the reason that I did that was, prior to that, it went up rather quickly, and then I saw a little bit of pause there. And based on the stochastic RSI, I was seeing that there were a lot of sellers that were happening. And basically, that's why I shorted it at 34,695. Again, a little different from following my rules that I placed for myself, which could be bad, and that's why it ended up the way it did. But anyway, from 34,695, I protected myself with a short. Definitely, I'm more conservative. And I was stopped out at 692, which is not a lot of money. It's just 3 points times 5, so it's about $15 for that trade. But what's tough about it is it was a good entry, but because of my OCO, I was stopped out prematurely, and it actually kept going down. So from 695, ideally I could have exited at maybe 660 or 665. 30-point proof, that would have been $150. And I allowed myself to have a bit of FOMO on it, or maybe a bit of a revenge trade. And because of that, I decided I'd go long because there's no way it would keep dropping. So that's where emotion comes in. And I entered at 673, and I got bit on that because I just entered because I was upset. From that last trade there, that revenge trade that I did, basically I went long at 73 and ended up cutting my losses at 58. So that's 15 points. 15 times 5 is $75, and then you add the commissions and fees, and we ended it on a bad trade on the last trade of the week. But what I'm proud of is, normally for a trade like that, especially when I'm long, I would hold on to it over the weekend. So the fact that I cut my losses, even though it was a loss, I think it's a good sign, and it's really why I'm sharing it to you, hopefully to show you that I'm evolving as a trader. And hopefully this is something I can look back to later and say, hey, look, this was your pivot point where, we will be hopefully making a whole lot more money. But anyway, that's just my content for the week. I hope everyone has a great 4th of July weekend. Hope you enjoyed that content. Please do like and subscribe to the channel if you found value on what I spoke about today. And if not, please give me another chance and hopefully you'll learn something on the next one. See ya.